even though we have these amazing pharmaceutical adjuvants, the difference between looking like Demi Moore and being educated enough on how to do them right is a massive gulf.
Let's dig in with GLP-1s. They have completely changed the weight loss and metabolic health conversation.
95% of people use them incorrectly. They do not eat enough protein. They're not hormonally balanced or optimized, and they don't even know if they are. They're clearly not doing resistance training, clearly not getting enough sleep, clearly not living insulin controlled. This is not a joke. 75% of everything right now are either underdosed, non-sterile, or bunk. There's no such thing as research chemicals. Everything comes out of China. The highest quality companies are all making high quality products.
What if everything you've been told about metabolism is wrong? What if your metabolism isn't broken? It isn't slow, and your age isn't the real problem. For decades, we've been chasing smaller bodies, counting calories, punishing ourselves with cardio, living on salads. Meanwhile, the one thing that actually controls your metabolism is disappearing: muscle. In my new book, The Metabolism Fix, I'll show you why building muscle, not starving yourself, is the fastest path to burning more fat, having more energy, aging powerfully, and getting your body back. Pre-order today at metabolismfixbook.com and you'll get every penny back. Seriously, you'll receive a $29 gift card, the full price of the book, to be used on orders of $80 or more at my store, plus exclusive bonuses worth over $100. The book is free. The knowledge could change your life. Go now to metabolismfixbook.com. Welcome to Well Beyond 40. I'm your host, JJ Virgin, and today we are going to dive into one of the hottest and most controversial, although I still can't figure out why, topics in health and longevity. We're going to talk all peptides and dig a little bit more into GLP-1 peptides and really what I think is the future of metabolic medicine. We were just talking, I'm here with Dr. J. Campbell, and we're talking about, here we are in Cannes, dragging a bunch of suitcases to bring all our peptides and supplements.
Yes, exactly.
Let me tell them a little bit about you. 5 times best-selling author, health optimization pioneer. Fella, we're not tampons, we're
Tamponians? Tamponians.
Global leader in hormone optimization, peptides, and longevity science. I've been wanting to get you on for a while to get into peptides. He's the co-founder of BioLongevity Labs, and he focuses on helping people optimize metabolic health, body comp, hormones, and performance through cutting-edge therapies and biohacking strategies. So we're going to talk GLP-1s. I'm just going to let you know what we're going to talk about, see if this is cool with you.
Yeah, no, it's great.
The good, the bad, the different types now that there's, I guess it really isn't GLP-1s now, it's GLP.
3s and 4s, yep.
Let's dig in with GLP-1s. They have completely changed the weight loss and metabolic health conversation. So can you kind of give us a primer on what they are, what they do, different types? Yeah,
so first off, thank you for having me on your podcast. This has been a long time coming. I've definitely wanted to come on, and now that we are essentially neighbors, obviously I saw you. I was at your house in November for the Hack Your Health thing. That was awesome. My newest book, which is Metabolic Awakening with GLP Peptides, came out in February. It's done, very, very well. It's unfortunately though a 700-page book, JJ.
Wow.
With 1,300 scientific references.
$1,000?
No, I mean, you can get the paperback, I think, for like $89 on Amazon. But as you know, majority of people today under the age of 30 can't read. It's really full of all of the research. And surprisingly, a lot of people I don't think know this, but there have been GLP peptide drugs in the pharmaceutical landscape since 2006, right?
They don't know it.
Yeah. But the newest, obviously, that people do know about, which obviously are the ones you and I are about to talk about, really came into the marketplace from an awareness standpoint around 2020. And that was, of course, semaglutide or Wegovy, which is really just a very crude stage 1 GLP, which obviously suppresses appetite. And that's all it does. And very honestly, it's owned by Novo Nordisk. It does a very good job of that. It is full of side effects.
It's actually too good of a job of it.
Yeah, it creates nausea. Now we have stage 2 and stage 3. And look, even the stage 3 peptide, which is retatrutide, which is an Eli Lilly product that is supposedly going to be now approved at some point, right? We're being told in the third quarter of 2026. But as you know, and I know, it's been in the research community for 3.5 years. I mean, I've been using it. My wife's been using it. Thousands of people that I know have been using it. It's an amazing drug. Eli Lilly's going to make literally billions of dollars when they eventually approve it in the pharmaceutical space. But as I say in the book, And you know this, there's already better coming in the pipeline. And when I say better, I mean stage 4, stage 5. So we really are in a biomedical revolution right now, and we have all these incredible pharmaceutical interventions coming. The biggest problem, and this is what we're going to talk about on this podcast, and what I really attempt to do in my book, is teach people that even though we have these amazing pharmaceutical adjuvants, the difference between looking like Demi Moore and being educated enough on how to do them right is a massive gulf. And 95% of people use them incorrectly. And when I say use them incorrectly, we can define that very simply as they do not eat enough protein, which, as you know, is obviously critically essential. They're not hormonally balanced or optimized, and they don't even know if they are. They're clearly not doing resistance training, clearly not getting enough sleep, clearly not living insulin controlled. Again, doing all the things that you and I, obviously have been preaching for a long time on how to do it right. And so that's kind of where we are right now, is that the gulf of information is literally education versus just being prescribed this drug by, some garden variety doctor and clearly ending up looking like Demi Moore. And that is truly, as you know, 95% of people using them.
On the one side, and I'd love you to talk about the benefits, because there's so many benefits and people still only think of them as an appetite suppressant.
Exactly. So the medical industry is so broken and so far behind, as you know. I know you've seen this for a decade, but you've got the allopathic community right now. The mainstream drug is Wegovy, which is the semaglutide, which, as you said, is a very crude appetite suppressor. When we have way beyond in tirzepatide, Mounjaro.
Is Wegovy still the most?
Oh, it's 80%. 80%.
So the one that's kind of like,
it's the one in the pharmaceutical
it's like the rotary
benefits.
phone.
Exactly. It's literally the rotary phone. Yeah. But because the pharmaceutical system, the sick care allopathic illness medicine system is so broken, that it's the only one that's made it through the pharmacological, call it insurance subrogation chain, right? So they'll give you benefits for your $20 copay. You can get a cheap version of Wegovy generic. But the truth is like you were just saying, is that we have, since 2021, by the way, stage 2, which is Mounjaro and Zepbound, which a lot of people are using, thankfully. And this one, in addition to suppressing appetite, also increases glucagon signaling or increases glucagon production, which, as you know, is a fight or flight hormone. So it increases metabolic rate, right? Ultimately. And then beyond that, which we already talked about, retatrutide exists. And retatrutide is a stage 3. So in addition to glucagon signaling, appetite suppression, it also has improving nutrient partitioning and insulin signaling. So you get, as you know, and I know, all the benefits of improved metabolic efficiency and fat loss and improved insulin sensitivity. And listen, this is the thing we should talk about on this podcast. All the newest studies are showing all the amazing things that this stuff does that isn't involved in metabolic, regulation. And that's changing brainwave patterning, eliminating obsessive compulsive disorders. There are thousands of people around the world who have stopped drinking alcohol, stopped vaping, stopped smoking weed, doing all these horrible, destructive habits because it's rewiring the brain. And again, this is in the research. This is in the studies, the established studies. So we don't have to have Andrew Huberman saying there's no studies for that. So it's actually out there where the studies are showing that these things do these amazing things. But listen, again, JJ, the most important part is, it's up to people like us. As great as these drugs are, if they're not used contextually, within the context of all the things I just mentioned, which you have been preaching for decades, they're nothing. And again, I don't want people to ever think that they're nothing, that they are easy buttons or holy grails or anything like that, because they're just tools. And with these amazing tools, if you're educated on how to use them, which again, 95% of people aren't, there are going to be the greatest changes in the history, the greatest, call it needle movers or levers in the history of pharmaceutical science. But again, not enough people know how to use them intelligently yet.
Don't you think that we're actually talking about two separate things? The pharmaceutical company, in their dosing strategy that you can't undo, unless you tried to figure out how to get it out of the pen. And I'm sure some people have.
Oh, yeah.
But if you look at the challenge, the way that the pharmaceutical companies use them are they take a tiny, it's like you had the teeniest little nail and they took a massive hammer and went,
insane.
Wow.
Literally insane.
And when you look at it, though, if you can take tiny bits of this, tiny amounts of these peptides, the results are incredible.
Yes.
So this is, I think, the big problem is we're talking about two different things. One, you've got a longevity metabolic health practitioner who's using very small amounts to create all of these great benefits. And then you've got the rest of the allopathic world slamming people with these. And it strikes me that because they're peptides, I don't understand how they can actually patent something that's a peptide that occurs in nature. Like, how can this, but we could always tweak it a little bit anyway, right? So they never can really control this.
We must understand that if you want to use these correctly, it has to be in surgically precise. Again, I think the term that people say now is microdosing, whereas the package inserts are literally overwhelming the receptors, right? And so if you don't understand that and you listen to your garden variety physician, that you get it from on the corner, you're going to be overdosed. Your receptors are going to hit attenuation. You're going to be blown out, and you're going to end up with the negative side effects, the rebound weight gain, the muscle loss, the Wegovy face, the Wegovy neck, the Wegovy butt, all these horrible side effects that we see in the mainstream news, the Demi Moores, because they're all real, right? But if you do understand, as you said, that if you use microdoses, is again in the context of being hormonally optimized, lifting weights, doing all the things that we know you have to do, they're the greatest inventions ever because they make, like people like you and I who are no spring chickens, it allows us to live leaner, longer, and stronger better than any time in recorded history, right? That's how amazing these interventions are. So it's like, you just have to make sure that you're working either with the right clinician, the right influencer, the right subject matter expert who can guide you on how to do these. But to the bigger conversation with RFK, everybody saw him on the Joe Rogan podcast. It's actually, can you believe it, more than 2.5 months ago now. So this was actually in early March. Or actually late February, and then it started making the rounds in early March. But, everybody thinks, so what has been ruled on is in July, they're going to have what they call the pharmacy committee convene in DC with all these bureaucrats and stodgy academics, and they're going to talk about peptides. And then they're going to have another one in February of 27. Now, you are like me, you've been in the space a long time. Like, they did the same thing, and it's the same playbook. It's funny how this works. In 2017 with hormones. And this, it goes even further back with women with the WHI debacle. But this is my opinion, but obviously I've been observing this space for decades. And I see the exact same playbook forming. They're going to meet in July, meet in February, convene. They're going to say no human studies, even though we know that people have been using peptides for decades with amazing results. Half the people in this place, if not 75% of pets, are all using peptides. They're going to say, we need more time. And what they're going to do, though, and this is the perfect end around, and you know this better than anyone, how pharma works, is they're going to patent 11 or 12 of those peptides for specific disease diagnoses. And now say, instead of like letting it, the party pooper, sorry guys, they're not for human use, we're going to continue to keep them on class 2. They're going to make 12 or 13 of those 17 available for class 1 use immediately. But you got to have a script and a diagnosis, and the big thing is 10 to 15 times the cost of what they are now. That's what's coming. I saw the same thing in 2017.
So stock up now.
Yes. I mean, listen, in 2017, they invited me to go to DC to speak on the hormone panel. They're like, hey, your books have really changed the game as far as teaching men and women how to use therapeutic hormones. We really want you to be sitting up there on the panel. And I was all excited. They, were like, oh, wow, they want me to come to DC.
I can make a difference.
Dude, one of my doctors who was very, very instrumental in mentoring me was like, Jay, I assure you, and please promise me that you will not go. They will destroy you. They will smear your credibility. They will literally look at you and say, do you have any human studies? And so here we are 10 years later, technically, right? Because that's not when they'll rule in the middle of 2027. And they're going to do the same thing with the same playbook. Because in 2017, they made testosterone legal for very specific diagnoses, right? Testicular failure. They still did not observe the environment and how everybody had less testosterone and the men were walking around decrepit. So it was like, now, here we are, 2026. If you remember a month ago, the VA is finally now allowing men who serve to get testosterone, which is still a joke, right? But I mean, it's just, it's a very standard playbook the government and the pharmaceutical industry runs. And so in my opinion, We still will not have active peptide usage other than the research market. And maybe they'll end up shutting that down. Who knows? But we won't have this available until probably 2030. So I honestly think we still have another 5 or 6 years to go before they finally say, okay, peptides are safe, they're effective, let's use them. They're going to just quarantine them off.
What are we to do?
So I'm involved right now. There is hope. I mean, I'm involved with the American Peptide Association and Jeff Cohen, who's been in the space, both representing the clinical side, representing the compounded side, representing the research side. And he understands, he uses peptides himself. His wife uses peptides himself. He's 64. And he believes that they're going to create a body, again, through the American Peptide Association, a separate company that will be coming that will vet and verify and authenticate all peptides. And so essentially, because as you know right now, the biggest risk is the industry
It's like,
itself
what are you actually getting?
has lots of bad actors, have lots of shady, nefarious characters that are selling God knows what. As I said the other day on a podcast, because my company tests all sorts of people and tests all sorts of products. I swear, this is not a joke, 75% of everything right now, and this is, by the way, not just research, but compounders like 503Bs and 503As are either underdosed, non-sterile. So, in this case, Andrew Huberman's right, because he always talks about lipopolysaccharides and toxins, or bunk, like literally
Or
counterfeit.
nothing. Wow.
So
It's
what's
like the
happening-
supplement industry,
Exactly.
except this
Hello,
time
there you
you're
go. Same
not
thing.
just ingesting, you're
Exactly. So basically, if 75% are either underdosed, fake, or bunk because they have toxins in them, then it shows you that the industry does need regulation. It does need increased scrutiny. It needs increased credibility, and it needs integrity. And this company that Jeff is spearheading and that I'm kind of part of behind the scenes will vet all sources from either research, which, by the way, research, Jeff just said this the other day on a giant social media post that went viral. He goes, there's no such thing as research chemicals. Pharma created that name to make that industry less impactful to their bottom line, right? But he's like, if you start looking at the actual companies that manufacture peptides, and by the way, for the record, everything comes out of China. All API, which is literally active pharmaceutical ingredient, which is the bulk substance, the synthesized formulations, come from China. There's some now coming from India into the States, and then the States lyophilizes them, which makes them into cake form, and then can put them in vials, which are air vacuum sealed, and then obviously made available for use, whether it's a compounder or research. The bottom line is they're all, the highest quality companies are all making the high quality products. It's the bad actors and the little guys on the street that, are all
which
on
could
TikTok.
happen in the U.S. too.
Well, yes, but I mean, literally, that's the thing is like when Jeff, who's involved in the looking at these things and the efficacy and the purification processes and looks at all the various companies, he'll tell you the only difference from a 503A compound pharmacy and a high-level research company is just the credibility and integrity of the owners.
So it's sort of like supplements calling themselves pharmaceutical
Same thing.
grade. And I'm
Same
like, there's
thing.
not a thing. There's no such thing. Okay.
That's basically what it is. It really is coming down to the integrity of the owner, whether it's a 503A owner or a supplement manufacturer who owns a research company. Do they care about what they put into the marketplace? Because you can absolutely test. You can get what is called, and I should say this, you should get what is called, and everyone should be doing this, and this will be the global standard, third-party triple verification. And what this means is the manufacturer provides a certificate of authenticity. Now you have a secondary independent party verifying that guy. And now after those two people, you have a third independent verifier who's not affiliated. And by the way, none of them are affiliated with anyone.
It's like a triple randomized,
Exactly.
blinded
We trust
study.
both of these people because we've now vetted it, right? So that will be the standard so that we now know that every person who buys a peptide or a small molecule or a bioregulator or anything that's injected, intranasally absorbed, transdermally absorbed or swallowed is getting what they think they're getting.
Even when you're doing all the right things, your strength training, staying active, prioritizing protein, keeping the muscle you built over a lifetime gets harder with age. Now, our parents were told to accept that it's just getting older. I don't buy that. And that's why I use Timeline, powered by MitoPure. Here's the real story. Muscle isn't just about strength or looking good. Muscle runs your metabolism, protects your balance, preserves your independence, and determines how powerfully you age. And what most people don't realize is that muscle loss isn't only about hormones or workouts, it's about cellular energy. As we age, our mitochondria, those energy engines inside our muscle cells, become less efficient. Now, when your muscles can't produce energy well, it's harder to maintain strength, function, and resilience. That's where MitoPure comes in. It's the only clinically studied form of urolithin A, a postbiotic shown in human clinical trials to support muscle strength and function by helping renew mitochondrial health at the cellular level. I love this because it works with your training, not instead of it. Now, strength training is the signal, protein is the building block, and MitoPure supports the cellular energy that allows your muscles to actually respond and adapt. MitoPure gummies make it simple. 2 a day, sugar-free, vegan, non-GMO, and independently certified for quality. And let's not forget, absolutely delicious. So if staying strong is part of your longevity strategy, and I sure hope it is, visit timeline.com/JJVirgin and get 20% off your order.
Hey, JJ here. And if you're over 30, there is something happening right now inside your body that most people have never heard of. It's called senescent cells. These are old cells that stop doing their job, but they do not go away. They hang around. They take up space. They drain your resources. And as they build up, you start to feel it. Less energy, slower recovery, more stiffness. Just not feeling like yourself. Now, for a long time, we thought this was just aging, but thankfully now we know better. Scientists discovered that certain plant compounds called senolytics can help your body clear these cells. That is a huge breakthrough because this is not about covering up aging. This is about addressing one of the root causes. And that's why I've been using Qualia Senolytic for years. It combines 9 of the most researched senolytic ingredients in one formula, designed to support your body's natural ability to clear out these zombie cells. And here's what makes it so easy. You only take it 2 days a month. That's it. No daily routine, no complexity. Just 2 days a month to support how you age. And again, I've been using it for years, and it's one of those things that once you understand it, you will never go without it. Now, if you're over 30, this is something you're going to want to start now, right now, not later. So go to qualialife.com/Virgin Wellness and use code Virgin Wellness for an extra 15% off. That's Qualia Senolytic at qualialife.com/Virgin Wellness with code Virgin Wellness. Because it's time right now to start taking control of how you age. Do you think, and what I want to talk about next are what works well with these GLP-1s, what other peptides should people be looking into? But before we get everybody excited about those, because I'm also selfishly thinking about myself.
Yeah, because you really need help.
I couldn't be time zone adjusting like I time zone adjust without a little help from a friend. Are you kidding? I mean, I take a lot of sheatine, but that can only go so far. So let's talk about some of the other peptides that work well with GLP-1s. But before we do that, do you believe that people are still going to be able to find a way to get these while all this craziness is going on?
In a worst case scenario, and what I predict happens, the research community will still be around. And the best news is, and again, I will be behind this, there will be, again, the triple verification, right? So if you're selling peptides that say hypothetically in 18 to 24 months, and, let's say what we believe or foresee comes to play in the compound space, and you can only get them with that diagnosis and that script at 10x the cost, there will still be a direct-to-consumer play that will be affordable and verified. 100%. Will it be probably a little bit more expensive than it is today, where you can literally go online and order retatrutide for $69? That's probably fake, but yes, of course. But there will definitely be verification. There will be independent third parties looking at stuff, and there will not be as many scammers because let's face it, the free market always determines the outcome, and the free market is smart always, and will basically look at the guys that are scammers and bad actors, and they will stop buying from them. And so only the legitimate people will stay there. So yes, there will absolutely be call it a non-pharmaceutically approved source of peptides that most people, I would say almost all people, will be able to afford. And they will be for sure able to know that what they're buying is legit.
Okay, so now that we know that, we can talk about some of the fantastic peptides out there and what they do that would work well with this lower dose of a GLP-1 that's so great for reducing inflammation and making you feel better.
So I literally just created, it hasn't been released to the public yet, but I created what I call the J. Campbell God Stack, which I first created in 2018. And as you know, we have evolved a lot in the last 3 or 4 years because, again, we are in literally a golden age of pharmaceutical science. So this would just be like the JJ Virgin J. Campbell, like longevity, optimized health stack for the rest of your life. Like you would be, let's just say you're 45 years old and older, man or woman, doesn't matter. Your first idea, depending on, again, what your ultimate desires are, is to be on a stage 3 GLP, right? Which is retatrutide. There are many more products other than, by the way, Eli Lilly, of course, is product, but others are coming. There's maybe 5 or 6 drugs in the pipeline that'll all be here within, I'd say, 9 months to 12 months, as good, if not better. So you'll want to be on a microdose of that.
Question on that.
Yeah.
Because I heard my buddy Ben Greenfield talking about how he was doing Reta like every couple days versus, you know, how the dosing is.
So who do you think taught him how to do that?
I figured. So that's why I was like, okay, Jay.
So that's exactly it. So retatrutide, let's just, for the audience right now to say this, we'll just give Eli Lilly all the money. Retatrutide would be that solution right now. And yes, the dose would be literally, and I mean this when I say this, if you're a woman, so you or my wife Monica or any other fit woman who is aging, you would literally take 0.10 to 0.15 milligrams 1, 2, maybe 3 times per week, right? So again, like Ben was saying, every other day. And these are, so you guys understand, this is 1/50th of the dose that pharma recommends. I mean, think about how insane that is, right? So that's what it is for a woman. For a man, it's like 0.25, maybe up to 0.35, even maybe if you're a little heavier and you need lose 25, 30 pounds, maybe 0.5. And again, these are 0.5 of a milligram, 0.10 or 0.15 of a milligram. This is a microscopic, surgically precise dose. Again, and this is how you use these, not what the pharmaceutical package insert says of literally what they give the GLPs to the weight loss people of 6 to 8, all the way up to 12 milligrams a week. A week, right? Okay, so we got that. Obviously, we want to make sure that we're not hormonally imbalanced or hormonally dysregulated. So, of course, you want to go to your physician, get your blood work done. If you're functioning with some form of testosterone deficiency, whether you're a man or woman, get that optimized, right? Because we don't want muscle loss. But then to your other most important question, for most people, they've got 10 pounds to lose, 15 pounds to lose. They want to make their belly less fat. Women want to have less fat down here in the glute ham tie-in region, whatever.
Dude, I think women are like injecting fat in their butts now.
Yeah, I know, dude. Don't even get me going. That's not peptide related. But yes, I mean, we're like I said, we are in a biomedical revolution. Some good, some bad. But if for the fat loss, we've got a microdose of retatrutide or GLP-3. We want to make sure we're on our hormones. So if I'm a man, I'm probably going to be on a low dose, a microdose of therapeutic testosterone. If I'm a woman, that maybe progesterone, maybe estradiol, again, depending on where you're at, whether you're perimenopausal, postmenopausal, et cetera. And now we're looking at mitochondrial peptides, okay, to optimize our energy, to optimize, the way we function, day in and day out. So I'm looking at, if I'm me, I'm looking at 3 specific ones. I'm looking at MOTS-c. I'm looking at 5-amino injectable, which is kind of the newest one, but it's pretty amazing. And then, of course, the tried and true NAD+, right? There is one other one that is amazing, but it's really not as much mitochondrial as it is energetic, and that's SS31, which is now called alamipretide. But those 4 are the primary mitochondrial peptides. And if you're going to use one of those, or you can actually, in effect, use all of them, you want to rotate them so that you're only using them at a month at a time. So like in my, again, 2026 J. Campbell God Stack, I have MOTS-c for a month. I have SS31 for a month, and then I have NAD plus for a month. So I'm always rotating them. I'm never burning out my receptors. I'm never getting to what is called receptor attenuation or insensitivity to the peptide, because as you know, a lot of people take them for too long and then they stop working. And that's always the most important thing I think we have to understand with peptides is we do want to cycle them because our body will eventually develop what is, again, called receptor attenuation or receptor insensitivity. And people will always ask me, well, like, how do I know when that's happening to me? In most people, normally you start having water retention. You'll start getting cellular water retention like in your belly or in your ab region or something like that. So that's when you know it's time to come off. But the good news about peptides, and again, the way these things are cycled and modulated, is that you can literally go from one mitochondrial optimizing peptide to another, right? So that's kind of how you would do that. Now, what I didn't mention, and I should mention because it's important, is a growth hormone agonist peptide is always going to be a central user too, right? So there's 4 that I talk about. There's only really 2 that I recommend. If you're a dude and you have belly fat, tesamorelin is going to be your best bet because it's literally an FDA peptide or approved peptide known as a Grifta that they give to men that have wasting disease or even HIV diagnosis, because what happens is that they get this really hard visceral fat in the center mass. And so Agrifta / tesamorelin was actually designed to tear through belly fat. And it works amazingly well.
Yeah.
So if you're a dude and you've got like belly fat right here, that will go through belly fat and tear it off so fast. And then ipamorelin, which I'm sure you're familiar with, is an amazing growth hormone agonist peptide. It's actually a GHRH that works amazing in women because it doesn't disturb the pituitary at all. So you don't have any, downstream side effects where it's like, not that it would ever affect, but you'll hear people say, oh, you don't want to disturb your body's pituitary and stop your natural growth hormone. But I'm here to tell you, and looking at all the research for a long time, that once you're in your early to mid 50s and beyond, you're not making any growth hormone.
Party's over.
Yeah. So like, I don't think you have to worry about that. But IPA and TESA are amazing. I would definitely mention CJC 1295 because a lot of people like that one too. I'm not a fan of that because most people that use that do get a niacin flush type of feeling, or even like a tiny little bit of I would call it like irradiated nausea, where you just kind of feel for like a couple minutes. Whereas with IPA and TESA, you don't feel that. There's no side effects. And then the other one to mention is AOD 5984, which is a weird peptide. Like in the analysis of it, it's like a form of growth hormone with like negative side effects removed. And in the research with it, it looks amazing. But then when you find people using it, they don't get a lot of great results. So I would keep that as number 4. But the dose of both of these is dependent on whether you're a man or a woman. If you're a man, you would take TESA at like 1 milligram at night and 1 milligram in the morning. That would be like your super, let's get results fast dose. And if you're a woman, I wouldn't take TESA because it's too strong. Some women will take it, but I wouldn't if I was a woman. I would take IPA, and the IPA dose is anywhere from like 200 to 300 micrograms. And that's also the same thing. Before bed, fasted, when you wake up, fasted. And again, that's because it's increasing IGF-1. It's going to improve deep sleep. It's going to improve polyphasic sleep. You'll get into REM faster.
What about follistatin?
You wanted to go there. Well, I might know a little bit about that product. So my company, BioLongevity Labs, sells a product called FLGR 242.
What's with these names, man?
It's a biochemical trade name, but all it is a recombinant modified version of follistatin 314, which, by the way, has been in the literature. Russian peptide users, Russian scientist, Dr. Vladimir Kavinson, they've been using this stuff for 60 years, okay? But my chemist, his name is Mike Farber. He's a brilliant, brilliant man. He has like 150 different drug delivery system patents. Came to me literally around this time last year, actually in the end of April, and sent me this crazy email and said, hey man, we should work together. And that was it. And I didn't even know who he was. And I sent him back, an email back with question marks like, dude, who the hell? Yeah. And then he sends me this next email back with a link. And I'm like, what is this? And I click in it, and it's this drug patent database. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy is so advanced. He literally created injectable ivermectin, right? So yeah, so you kind of understand the level of this guy's genius. So anyway, me and my partners at BioLongevity, we instantly have a Zoom call with this. He lives in Thailand. And he's like, look, man, I've been in this space for 40 years. I finally have created a new what he called biodivergent pathway of drug delivery that will literally change pharmaceutical science. And we're like, these are strong words, right? And a couple of us have been in the game for a long time. We're like, listen to this guy. Like, okay, bro, like you're talking a big game, but like I knew he was genuine. I knew he really, he was very heart focused, heart centered. I knew what he was saying was like true. Because he told me his backstory about how his mom died and he wanted to create something that could prevent, obesity. And so anyway, we're like, okay, dude, well, when are we going to meet you? You're going to show us the formulations. These things are all patented. They're trademarked. He's like, oh, absolutely. I've been in the space forever. I know what to do. So we met with him. He flew from Thailand to where we met with him in Cleveland, Ohio in August of last year. He gave us the products. He's like, look, I've been using them I did 1 year of testing in animals, pigs, horses, rats, cats, and dogs. And now I've been using it for myself for 6 months. Here, I give it to you guys freely. Check it out. So we started using them in August. All of us, including myself with the FLGR 242, we each put on somewhere between 9 and 10 pounds of muscle. Now I put on 10 pounds of skeletal muscle in my upper body. So far, it's been about 6 months of use, which, as you know, at our age, to be able to do this, it's totally revolutionary.
That plus
Totally revolutionary.
the fact that you've always worked out.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I'm no spring chicken.
Like
exactly.
I put on 2.5 pounds of muscle with Fortitropin, and I'm like, oh my God,
Yes. No, you won't even believe this. You won't even believe this product. And just so you know, we have thousands of men and women that are on this product now. Actually, we're in the tens of thousands now because we're now 6 months past because we started selling it in December.
It's a great time to be 50.
Exactly, it is. We are definitely in a biomedical golden age. We're in a revolution in pharmaceutical science, and there's so many very smart people that are creating all these incredible products. And obviously, I happen to be, connected with one of them, who's now manufacturing this. And just so you know, we're in the very end stages of coming out with a brand new company that doesn't have a name yet, but literally will be responsible for the distribution of all of these, what we call IP products that Mike has developed. Because, by the way, I haven't even told you, there's 6 other products coming behind those 2. Imagine a super retatrutide. So think of how amazing retatrutide is, as we know, is the microdosages, and now having something that binds 20 times harder than reta. So what that means is you will use 1/100th the dose. You'll use 1/100th the dose, and it will literally shrink your waist, make you more insulin efficient, literally tell you, hey, you don't need that food. I mean, imagine craving clean food and walking up to a plate and, like the hors d'oeuvres that are in there and saying, oh no, my body won't, my body will like repel this if I eat it. So that's kind of where we're going with this, but you nailed it. We really are in a biomedical revolution, and the stuff that's in the pipeline that's coming will make all of this stuff that we're talking about and raving about right now, like, inconsequential. But the FLGR 242, again, the recombinant follistatin, is definitely a product, to your original question, that anyone using GLPs will want to take because it will prevent muscle loss. And as you know, the Demi Moores of the world, to go back to her, they're clearly not doing stuff right, and they're overdosing on these things, looking like skeletons. If she was taking FLGR, no matter how bad her training and how bad her protein consumption was, she would not look like that. That's how powerful this is in preventing muscle loss.
Exciting. All right, ready for rapid fire?
Let's do it. Yes.
Most underrated peptide.
SS31, which is now a lamipretide. That product is so appreciated and also underdosed. And we're only learning about this now as the bro world has started taking mega dosages of it, and it's insane. Also, the autoimmune world is also now taking mega dosages of it, and it's regenerating nerve pathways.
And what's the dose?
Most people like us for anti-aging or longevity would probably take 2 to 4 milligrams a day. But the crazy people who are seeing the profound effects are literally taking 15 to 20 milligrams every 2 days. So like super high dosage. But the good news for that product right now is it's still relatively cheap. So it won't cost someone to do a couple month cycle, but a couple $1,000s. And supposedly you can have profound autoimmune histogenic response or how would I say it, regrowth.
All right, most overhyped biohack.
Oh man, the most overhyped biohack is 100% cold plunges.
Biggest mistake people make on GLP-1s.
Without a doubt, understanding whether or not they're hormonally optimized before starting it.
One biomarker everyone should track.
C-reactive high sensitivity protein.
Morning non-negotiable.
Meditation, introspection, contemplation, sitting in nature, getting into still mind.
Most important longevity habit.
Your thoughts become things. You're only as old as you think you are.
I love being this age.
Exactly.
I think back to when my parents were this age and they looked and were so old.
Yeah, because they didn't know. They didn't have our knowledge. They didn't have our awareness. Yeah.
It's amazing. Okay, important takeaway. GLP-1s are not magic. They're tools. All those things you heard today, they feel like magic, but the reality is they are tools, but they are so powerful. Like I'm in love with all the things that I'm able to do with them. All this stuff can help you with muscle, can help you with energy, can help you reverse things like autoimmune disease, can help with vitality, but you got to know how to do them. So we are going to link. You have put out so much information. I know you've got a couple books.
Yep. So the newest book is Metabolic Awakening with GLP Peptides. And what I'm going to do for you, because I love you and this is such an amazing podcast, is anybody who watches this podcast and reaches out to you or me, and they can reach out to me through, of course, my website, jcampbell.com, or they can send an email to you or even to me. I'm definitely not giving our emails out on this podcast right now, but contact@jcampbell.com will get it to me. I will literally send you a free PDF copy of the book, which is still right now like #1 on Amazon in like 8 categories.
For 700 pager?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
So what we're going to do is put everything at jjvirgin.com/Dr. J, J-A-Y. We've got, because you've got a ton of stuff. Like
Yes.
if you want to learn about peptides, this is your doctor right here.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for your time here.
JJ, thank you so much for having me on. A long time coming. It was awesome.
Yes,
It turned out to be great.
You know, when we talk about menopause, the focus is almost always on hormones. But what I've learned is that's only part of the picture. Because this phase of life doesn't just affect your hormones. It affects how your brain works, your energy, how you feel day to day. And a big part of that comes down to your cells. Your cells rely on something called phospholipids. These are the building blocks of your cell membranes, and they're essential for how your brain functions, how your cells communicate, and how your body operates overall. As estrogen declines, your body's natural production of key phospholipids can shift, which can impact things like mental clarity and overall resilience. That's why I started focusing on supporting this more foundational layer. One of the things I added into my routine is Body Bio PC. It's a phospholipid complex that helps support cell membrane health, brain function, and liver function. Basically, helping your body get building blocks it needs to function well. And what I like about this is that it's not just about chasing symptoms. It's about supporting how your body works at a deeper level. So you're supporting things like clearer thinking, better focus, and feeling more like yourself again. And of course, Body Bio is known for really high quality, practitioner trusted formulations. So if you're in perimenopause or menopause and feel like something is still missing, this is definitely worth looking into. You can head to bodybio.com and use code JJVirgin20 for a discount.